What's up, broadcasters? Welcome back to another episode of Branding Banter, that nerdy podcast, or that promotional products podcast where you get all the nerdy news you need to know about. And I'm Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Hidware USA.
I'm Meg Erber, Director of Sales at Proforma.
I'm Sarah Goshgarian Unruh, National Sales Manager at Stalls.
And we're joined today by a special guest. We got Nathan Cotter with us here, and super excited to have you on today. But before we launch into the topic, we're gonna talk about Water for Good and everything that we've been able to do. Meg, I know that you're on that team, so we'll be able to really talk to that and everything that's gone into that program over the last couple of years and what you guys have gotten up to this year. But Nathan, before we launch into the topic, why don't you just give us a quick background about yourself and maybe how you got started in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Nathan Cotter. Like you said, I'm the Chief Supply Chain Officer at HIT Promotional Products. Just recently hit my 10-year anniversary with HIT. So now feeling like I've been here for a minute and had my experience in the industry. So yeah, that's kind of my background. And then specifically to today's topic, I'm involved in overseeing our sustainability program and our ethical sourcing programs and all those different areas that touch the Water for Good campaign and Planet Water.
So, Meg, what is Water for Good for anybody that hasn't watched our coverage of the,
PromoCares initiatives in the past?
Yeah.
There you go.
We just finished each other's sentences these days. No. So, For Good events, it's the initiative, it's the movement that PromoCares have put forth over the last 4 years. We started off in a pandemic, right? We were all coming out of a pandemic, and we started off trying to focus on mental health and what that looked like. We had partnered with NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. The second year, we had actually planned to do Water for Good, and then unfortunately, there was a humanitarian crisis that broke out in Ukraine, and we felt very strongly about raising money and creating awareness for the children, the displaced children of Ukraine. So then we had Ukraine for Good. Once we finished that one, we decided, you know what, it's time to kick off Water for Good. Last year, 2023, we were able to raise over $175,000.
It's awesome.
Like, that's insane. That is insane. And we did it in just a couple of months. And we really leveraged not only our supplier partners like Nathan and HIT, but throughout the industry. And the whole purpose was not only are we raising awareness of what we as an industry do to just the communities that we draw resources from. So number one was creating awareness. And then we're raising the money, which is great. We usually do this to create awareness, but there's usually not a call to action. We actually went into these communities that we draw resources from last year, and we built over, I think it was 7 aqua towers in one, and then 3 within another community through Tall-Tex. They were a huge supplier last year. The responses were so overwhelming. So many people in the industry wanted to get involved that we decided to do it for a year 2. And the main reason we decided to do that is HIT was so passionate about it. I'm going to let Nathan talk. They had already committed by the time of the launch to commit to $80,000, which is 4 water towers. And I don't want to steal the show on this, so I want Nathan to talk about that. Nathan, and we had CJ on there last year, and he was so passionate about the why, but I would love to hear it from you. Like, why is it so important for you guys to be a part of Water for Good? Like, just the whole thing. I mean, this is what you're passionate about, or you wouldn't be in this role. So I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so I think my experience with Planet Water specifically goes all the way back to 2019 and just before the pandemic. So my last pre-COVID trip overseas in November of 19 included an opportunity to participate in person in a tower build in Vietnam, which was, I think, it sounds almost cliche to say a life-changing experience, but it was like a 7-hour car ride into the middle of nowhere in Vietnam, going 20 to 25 miles an hour on bumpy roads a lot of the way. One of the funkiest hotels I've ever stayed in for that night that we were there is a way to put it. But then the experience of that build was specifically at a school. And we were able to engage with the children, do some education with them on, the benefits of clean water and hand washing and all these different things. And then, as far as like we played soccer with them in the schoolyard and things like that day and built a tower. And by the time that we left, they had clean running water at their school. So that was kind of the start for me and a pretty exceptional experience. And then, like you said, kind of COVID got in the way for a couple of years, and coming out of it, when you all started the Water4Good campaign, it was pretty much a no-brainer based on that past experience that we wanted to get back involved. And for me personally, a little bit more of my background is before I got in this industry, I was actually a school teacher for 8 years.
So me too.
Yeah, the fact that these builds, take place at schools a lot of times is, just personally even, a connection for me. And even beyond that, I come from an education family where my mom was in special education for 40 something years and things like that. So the school connection is also something that's really neat for me.
Yeah. I was going to say what you talked about. I loved the community efforts, number one. And then the second part was the education piece. And I think that's so important because you're then teaching generations, right, of the importance of clean water. So then that way, from a community standpoint, can you talk like, what is a build? When you say a build, can you talk about like that experience and what that means?
Yeah, sure. So, Planet Water definitely does some of the prep work before the volunteer group gets on site, making sure that there's like a platform and a space and that there's actually access to a water source. But when we got there that day, then a build was actually physically assembling the tower. So putting some of the pieces together, standing the tower up. They had a team of professionals that actually did the water hookup, and then we were able to see the first flow of clean water come out of the tower while we were there. So pretty cool.
I can imagine it's a big like celebratory moment once the water starts flowing. So cool.
For sure. And especially the kids, because I think on that build specifically, they provided like bottles to the kids. So they were able to start coming up and filling their bottles with the clean water and things like that. So, that was pretty neat. And then, each build that we've sponsored since then, and I haven't been able to go on another one yet, unfortunately, but, we get a full photo report and just seeing like the faces on the kids and the impact that it's having in all these different areas is pretty cool.
It really is. Sorry, it's so rewarding. And just as an aside, those water towers that we built last year, they served over 12,000 men, women, and children. They were put in the schools and they were open to the communities after school hours. That's all I wanted to add. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, obviously the money or the donations and the philanthropic side of this is huge, and obviously couldn't be done without that. But I think there's something to really actually going and helping with that build as well. How if somebody wanted to get involved in something like that, how do they, where do they go to sign up, or how do they get involved to maybe participate in a build?
That's actually a great question, Jeff. So last year we had different tiers. If your company donated a certain amount, there was volunteer opportunities. It's really just reaching out to your favorite PromoCares board member and saying, listen, how can I get involved? We want to be a part of this initiative. We want to build water towers. At that point, we can give you all the options of how. Right now, we are about to put out a Zoom catalog, which will house all of the suppliers that want to be involved this year. So as it worked last year, we had two ways that you could raise money. One, we actually sold this T-shirt, "Water is a Human Right." We sold it for $50. 100% of the proceeds made it to the campaign. The other way was, if you're a distributor, was to buy the products from the participating suppliers. So last year, what HIT did was they said, okay, we are putting all of our drinkware items in this campaign. So any drinkware item that you buy, aside from closeout items, we're donating 2% of all sales. I think it was like through third and fourth quarter. Don't quote me on that, but it was something along those lines. So we had companies like, I think Raining Rose, HPG, Hirsch. Everybody donated something specific, or they picked a product or a line of products. And so what we did was we compiled all of those products, put it in a Zoom catalog, and then allowed the distributors to go out and not only talk about the mission, talk about what they're doing for these communities and their involvement in it. And there was really no heavy lifting on the distributors. All they had to do was just use and sell the product through our supporting partners. So if you are a supplier and you would like to get involved, just shoot me a message. You can either comment here and I'll reach out to you, or my email is merber@proforma.com, and I would love to get you involved. This is such a great experience and great opportunity to do something that puts our industry's best foot forward. You know, we are an industry that has a stigma that we are trinkets and trash, and I think it's embarrassing. And I think it's really up to us to elevate that conversation with our vendors, with our customers, with the end buyers, the end users. I think it's just really important to just elevate the conversation, and we're doing it right here and right now. Very exciting.
So Meg, Nathan, since you guys were super involved last year, so I remember seeing videos from Mexico from a build perspective. So what are the communities? Are there different communities that are targeted this year? And what do those look like? And then why were those picked?
That's a great question. So I'll speak to the general one. So generally we are going to stay overall in Mexico this year. However, when we have donors like HIT who have a very specific need, which I'm going to let him speak to, we will provide custom build sites that are then vetted. We go there and we do the base, the platform, and everything. But Nathan, why don't you tell us why you guys chose those other 4 locations for 2024?
Sure. Yeah. As we've worked with Planet Water, there's kind of several different factors that go into that. I would say one for us being, where is our supply chain located, and is there a need, or can we deploy a tower somewhere near where we source materials out of, so that we're, putting resources back into those locations that we're getting goods and things out of. The other thing is, on the Planet Water side, they have, specific project clusters going where they have resources and things like that. So sometimes it's a little bit of, we can get pretty close to a sourcing location, but it also then fits within a cluster where they have the resources and the team on the ground to get that done. And then the other one that's really come up more recently, like just in the last 2 weeks, is like disaster recovery, because that's part of their mission as well. So northern Vietnam specifically was hit pretty hard by Typhoon Yagi in the last 2 weeks, and had significant damage in northern Vietnam. And in that case, they reached out, and we were able to support with an additional donation to mobilize water towers and support specific to that disaster recovery. So all of those kind of play into the strategy of where we support or have those built.
We appreciate that, Nathan. I actually you guys have deployed 2 of the 4 already. One was in Laos, or maybe 3 of the 4. I apologize, actually. 3 of the 4.
3. Yep, 3 of them.
So one in I cannot pronounce that. I'm gonna try. So one was there on June 11th in Laos, and then Indonesia on September 11th, and then the next one you have is in Vietnam on Long An on the 7th of October. So
yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's so exciting, and I'm so happy and proud to be a partner with HIT, and the fact that you guys are doing this and supporting PromoCares. And this is really about the industry, about all of the hardworking people in the industry that see that this is a need, and they're willing to give back and be a part of it. So
yep. I was able to tell you, before we got started that we're in for 2025 again as well. So we've made that commitment for 4 additional builds, and we're working with Planet Water already on locations and planning and scheduling going into next year, with the hope that myself and CJ potentially, and some of our other executive team members are maybe able to make it on site and actually participate in a build next year.
That's exciting. And so, as a listener, when you purchase any water bottle from HIT, that's where part of the proceeds of this purchase is going to build aqua towers in these impoverished communities. So rock on.
So Meg, I know that there's a link here that I'm putting on the screen so that people can donate if they so choose. Now, is this something that's open 24/7, 365, or do you guys only collect during certain times of the year?
So right now, I believe this is going to go on until March 22nd of 2025, because that is World Water Day at that point. Or if we hit our goal, I think we're probably still going to keep going. If we hit our goal, we're almost 50% of the way there already, and we just launched this the other day. So if you go to that website that you see on the ticker below, we do have a video there. It does have the build in it. It has a lot of what you're going to see that we're doing. And you can sign up. You can sign up and have a team, and you guys can compete. So we have teams. You can sign up your company there. And it's very easy. You hit the donate button, and you can walk all the way through it. Our story is there. And it's just really neat. Everything that you need to know about this campaign is on that website, and we make it very easy for you to either join a team, start a team, or just donate and give accolades to a team. So,
and for audio listeners, it's givebutter.com/water, the number 4 good, and then 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say our industry is so big that, one of the smaller donation items that you have is the t-shirt, right? Like $50 for a t-shirt, and all the proceeds going to Water4Good. And so the impact that just one individual could make is huge. So if we replicate that amongst the many of us that are listening to this, it'd be a fantastic donation and help meet that goal well before March for sure.
Sounds good. Nathan, is there anything else that you want to add about HIT's involvement?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I think we really covered it pretty well, and it's such a cool program, and feel lucky that I was introduced to it, like I said, back in 19 when it was just getting going, and that we've been able to stay with it and now continue to put resources into that cause.
Yeah, your story gave me chills, that's for sure. So those moments that you get to have that are life-changing moments, I think are few and far between. And so it's really cool that you were able to participate and be a part of that. I think we as an industry talk so much about sustainability. This puts sustainability on a totally different level.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. Yep.
So Meg, you said that you guys were able to raise $175,000 last year, and you're already over 50% of the goal for this year. What did you mention what the goal is for this year so far?
So our goal for this year is $200,000, and I think last year we were almost at 176, and we're at 87 and some change so far this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so if I'm doing my math correctly, it takes about $20,000 then to erect a water tower.
Correct. Right, yeah, cool. It's about $20,000 for a water tower, and that includes everything. And we are a promo industry. We live and breathe brands. There is a branding opportunity as well. It's not the first priority, but it also comes as one of the perks. With every $20,000 donation for your own aqua tower, you get full, complete, control over the branding that gets to go on that. And what's really cool is that when I go to the Planet Water Foundation website, and I know this is something stupid and little, but you're looking at all their corporate sponsors, you see companies up there like Capital One, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, and then front and center is PromoCares. And it's like, that is just so cool to have that recognition for our industry. It's just, I don't know, it has all the feels. So again, I can't talk enough about elevating these conversations all the way around and getting people involved. And I think it's just really important for our industry overall.
Very cool. So maybe before we wrap up, do you want to tell us about the hat that you're wearing?
Oh, this is a beautiful hat. Very, very quickly, Jeff did these hats. Promotions East is next week, guys. Hope to see you there. We're mixing it up a little bit, and this is part of our influencer campaign. So by the time this airs, you should have seen a barrage of 30-second dance-off challenges, and this is part of it. So thank you, Jeff, and all of Headwear USA for donating these.
You're welcome. However, your little bumpy Vietnam car ride did not count as your dance-off. So
yeah, I feel like we could all have like a 30-second dance-off moment.
I got something coming. Oh, you want to have one now?
Just send us out, right?
Nathan, let's see your best moves.
No.
Right? It's part of the chair. You could maybe sprinkler it across.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Branding Banter podcast and of course all Promo4Good, I'm sure, and Nathan, thank you, and Hit and CJ and everybody over there, as well as everybody else that donates to the cause. I think it's amazing. It's definitely the number one human right across the world, and everybody should have access to clean drinking water. So thank you guys very much for doing what you do, and hopefully it'll continue. Anything else to add, you guys?
I think that's it.
All right, sweet. Well, yeah, go buy a shirt. Absolutely. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll be seeing you.